What is up, Hit Seekers? Jake Rouse here, coming live from the studio in Greater Cincinnati. I am so excited to spend the evening, next 45 minutes to an hour with you, opening up two PSA submissions that I have been waiting on for an incredibly long time. My hope was really simple. I wanted to spend some time with you guys, chat through the thought process, walk through, why I graded what I graded and how I approached this, and answer your guys' questions along the way. And then, we saw the interest, and so we decided that we would sweeten the pot a little bit. So I'm going to announce some giveaways here in a second, and I'm going to talk through some of the things that we have going on, but appreciate it. Give you guys a little time to jump in. Michael, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining us this evening. It was an incredible win for the Bengals. I can assure you that I did not have them pegged as being the guys to beat the Steelers. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to unbox these cards real quick. I'm going to get everything set up so that we can walk through them. I have not looked at these yet. Hey, Mike, thanks for jumping in this evening. Excited to look at these together and to chat through where we are going. Yeah, those stands, Dave. Hey, Chris. Hey, Jeff. Thanks for joining, guys. Dave, my brother is into woodworking. He's got a bunch of woodworking material, so I had him make these for us. We have them listed on the Shopify page, but maybe they're priced too high. I don't know, but they're fantastic because I wanted something that I'd be able to display these cards with everyone. So, all right, I'm gonna pull these out of the box and get them organized here in a second, while you guys kind of hang out for a minute, and then I'm gonna walk through what's going on. And then we've got a little bit, if you guys can hang out for, 15, 20 minutes as we talk through this. I'll obviously answer all your questions, but I built a little trivia game for everybody who's in the chat. And what we're going to do is we're going to give prizes to the top 2 if we have 20 participants, top 3 if we have more than 20. And those prizes are going to be pretty good. It's trivia, and so the trivia is going to be sports card related trivia. The winner is going to get a PSA 10 right from this group here, a PSA 10 Joe Burrow Mosaic NFL debut. Just for you guys being the best members and helping us build this thing. Jim, how you doing, man? Happy holidays. Glad we could spend some time together. All right. So like I mentioned, I'm excited because we got a lot of cards to go through. Hey, Travis. How you doing, man? Thanks for spending a little time with us this evening. I'm going to set this stuff over to the side. Give me one more second, and I'm going to get this organized so that we can talk about it. All right. Yep. Just as I suspected. Make sure. That makes sense. That makes sense. This goes over here. And then this stack. Yeah. All right, so now I've got these things divided in a way that I'm going to show them all to everybody so we can chat about them. That's right, Mike, NBA is back. I'm going to show you guys some data on the tool that I use pretty frequently to track values, to show you what's going on a little bit in the card market. But let's dive in here. So what I was looking to do is chat with all of you about grading and answer questions, show you how I've been approaching it, and then obviously talk to you about anything you guys may be interested in with respect to grading. What we have here are two separate orders. The first is a 10-day submission that I shipped out of my house on October 20th. So on October 20th, I mailed roughly 50 cards out, and I submitted them 10-day. Now, the reason that I did that was because I was trying, and it kind of bit me in the butt. I significantly underestimated how backed up that PSA was, and I tried to time the market so that I could get Mosaic graded cards back before Prism. And why would I want to do that? Well, let me show you. I'm going to jump down to a tool, and I'm going to go back and forth on this a little bit, and then we're going to walk through the cards. But I'm going to show you why I would want to get these back before Prism came out. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over here to Graded Card Fun. All right, you guys can see this chart. It's pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to open this tab up, and I'm going to show you why I want to get it before Prism. So there's Joe Burrow. We're going to take Herbert, and we're going to take Tua Tagovailoa. The three biggest rookies. There's the Prism card and their Mosaic football card, and we're just going to go with the base, and we're just going to look at them raw, okay? If you guys look at this chart, so this is a tool that I use pretty frequently, and what they're doing is they're charting popular eBay sales, and so I'm going to get rid of the trend line. Sorry, get rid of the trend line. There we go. And then I'm going to take this down to November 25th. This is obviously, you can see when Prism came out. Okay? So the reason that I was trying to do this and trying to time this in a way that made a ton of sense is because when Prism comes out, the interest in the lesser products begins to wane. So you can see over here, back months before Prism, these raw cards were going for, between $40 and $70. And then dramatically, Prism gets released, and instantly the cards begin to decline quite a bit. So we wanted to have some of the original PSA graded Mosaics. Now, I think I've mentioned this to a lot of you guys in breaks, but I was a huge believer because I think it's mainly because I'm interested in making sure that I have a position in Joe Burrow because I'm a Cincinnati guy. And so Joe Burrow's, PSA graded 10 cards were flying off eBay and growing like crazy. So this entire stack right here is Joe Burrow Mosaic PSA graded cards that I graded 10-day. And I think it would have paid off if he didn't get injured. But let me show you what we did here. So I bought some silvers. And one of the things I want to show you in these silver prisms and any of the prisms of Mosaic is the surprising nature of how they decide what's a 10. There is not a lot of rhyme or reason on what got a 10 in Prism and what got a 9. Meaning, when I pre-graded these two cards side by side, and I know because they always send the cards back in the order that you ship them, I pre-graded both of these cards a 10, and frankly, looking at them, they look the same. Like, there's nothing off about them. There's no surface scratches. There's no centering issues. But one got a 9, one got a 10. In fact, in terms of the base cards that we submitted, all right, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we submitted a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 base, okay? And we got 2 10s out of 7, which, again, doesn't make a ton of sense because there aren't really fundamental differences between these cards. And so one of the things that I will look to do is I will look at the market over the next few days and determine if it is worth resubbing some of these in an effort to bump the 10s. Now, what I want to add to this is that when I'm looking at grading cards and submitting cards, I am doing everything in my power to bring back at least 60% Gem Mint 10s. I know it's unlikely they're all going to 10, obviously, but I am doing everything that I can do to try to get 60%. Michael, I don't think it's a fluctuation of different people looking at it. One thing that I have, and I've never tested this, but I think submitting that many cards in one submission, because the way I understand it works, I don't believe PSA breaks up your submission. I think one person gets your submission and they grade at least the majority of it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to control the order of the cards. And so I think it has more to do with just sometimes the PSA grader not, just making a decision. Like, for instance, I went and got this refractive orange Burrow. Yeah, pop control is also pretty true, Mike. But when you say pop control, I'll show you one of the things that makes me question pop control, right? Because, as I look at one of the things that we submitted was NFL debuts, okay? This is a lesser rookie card for Joe Burrow. It's not going to be as valued as his base Mosaic rookie. But when I look at this, we got a 10 in the red Mosaic, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Every single one of the NFL debuts that I submitted of Joe Burrow got a 10. My thought process on this, at least one of the things that I think is happening here, is I think these cards, the NFL debut, are a lot easier to suggest the centering on. So they're anchored at the top and the bottom, whereas the base, has these floating pieces around it, and it's frankly really hard to tell. Like, this one looks a little off center left to right? You got a little bit more space. Sorry, you can't really see that. You got a little bit more space over here than you do over here. But, I don't know. It seems a little arbitrary with Mosaic. And I've heard that before, because it's really, really hard to do. And so, we ended up, again, grading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 NFL debut Joe Burrows. And again, with the season coming to an end, we're going to be doing everything we can to probably move some of these. We'll probably hold some back for giveaways. And we're going to give one of them away tonight in our trivia game. So I'm going to put him in the Hit King for now. And we will go from there. The last pieces of the Burrows that we did were the introductions inserts. Again, really wanted to just focus on getting a nice spattering of fresh Burrow. So we ended up submitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1 silver. And we got about half 10, which is about what I would expect. Nearly a half 10 rate, 50 to 60% is the goal. And that silver Mosaic is pretty sharp. So those are pretty cool. Dave, what I will say, and this is just my general opinion, and again, it's up to you as a collector and what you're trying to get out of the cards. But what I will say about grading NFL debut or NBA debut is I grade all the rookies that are worthwhile. Why? Because if they come back a 10, they're worth it. So, for instance, this NFL debut card that we're going to give away, you can buy on eBay right now for nearly, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks. It's a $150 PSA 10. And so, you factor in your grading costs, which for us, we went heavy and tried to get them back as quickly as possible. So I tried, I 10-dayed all of these, which in hindsight I wouldn't have done because I didn't know how backed up PSA was. Because if I 10-day an order on 10/20, I'm expecting to get those cards back before Thanksgiving. And if I would have, then we would have had a week to move these and then get into Prism. that didn't happen. And so if I would have 20-dayed these or even 45-dayed these, 100%, I mean, they're worth, 100, 150 bucks plus whatever you're paying them. So I would. The other player, it was interesting when I was thinking about this before Thanksgiving, we went pretty big on Tua. And so he didn't get hurt, and his Prism cards are still doing pretty well. But we graded a couple of his base, so again, a 10 and a 9, without a ton of differentiation between the two. But I get it. I mean, they're not going to give it all. They're not going to give everything a 10. You got the Blue Chips 10, second Blue Chips 10, and then a couple NFL debuts. So that one got a 9, this got a 10. And so what we'll do is we'll focus on trying to move some of those before the end of the season. And then again, some of the cards I just thought were cooler. I just really like this card. I know it's not super valuable, but I was hoping it would 10. It looks really clean to me. It looks on center. And it's got this really cool, I don't know if you guys can see it. You can't really see it in the camera, but it's got a really cool like holographic in it. Again, just that's more of a personal thing. So with the Mosaic, we subbed it all 10-day. I added in 2 cards that I was super passionate about, trying to get back, was really excited about. And those are more because I'm trying to get these cards out the door, sell them before the end of the season, and move into what I like to PC. So the Russell Wilson Stained Glass, which got a 9, and then the Patrick Mahomes Stained Glass, which also got a 9. I can understand why these got a 9. In fact, I pre-graded them a 9 because while it's hard to see in the actual card, they are a little off-center, left to right. And I think that because of that, it's going to be really tough to get a 10 on a card like a Mahomes or anything like that. And so, to me, it's pretty cool. Now, Dave, debating on second-class players like R.J. Barrett. Let me tell you about R.J. Barrett here because he's in my other stack. We're going to talk about him in a second. So the first thing to talk about with this, 10-day sub, lessons learned on the 10-day sub. First thing I'll say, unless you're positive that you're going to get the cards back in time to sell them, and that's your goal, don't 10-day them. We spent, $55 a card for 43 cards. So $2,100 on just grading fees. Now, are we going to lose money on that? No, we'll probably still make a little bit of money on it if we move them all. But with him getting injured along the way and those types of things happening, it really became a little bit more difficult for us to see the return that we were looking for. And so first learning was don't try to time the market. Be patient with PSA grading. And do it in a way that you're happy no matter when the cards come back. And so that was the first one. The second order that we have to talk through, and this is the one that I'm going to talk through a few strategies on, is a 20-day submission that I submitted on 7/29/20. Okay? And both of these submissions came back on the same day. So I got both packages the day I posted that. 7/29/20. The thing about this 20-day submission is it actually got caught up in grading and no one could tell me why. So it stuck in grading for literally 2 months. And really, really disappointed that it happened. And you'll see why. In this 20-day sub, I approached 3 different strategies that I'm using to grade cards or grade and flip or grade and hold. Those 3 strategies are this. The first is picking one player that you're believing is going to have a really big season, investing in their raw rookie cards, and grading them to sell during the season. For me, that one player was Lamar Jackson. I went really big on Lamar Jackson, and I picked up a handful of his rookies. I pre-graded them myself, and I was really, really interested in watching him go because he was going to have a great season. And what was interesting is when I subbed these before the NFL started back in July, my thought process on a 20-day order is I'd get them midpoint of the season, not at the very end. And so if we go back to this chart, I'll show you guys, I was looking, here's Lamar Jackson, and here's kind of his card prices. His base Prism was around $3,100 before the season started for a base. Now, a lot of you may say, well, that's way too high. Like, why on earth would his base Prism go that far up? And what, why does that make sense? Well, what I'll say about his base Prism is look at the population numbers. This is consistently known as one of the hardest cards in all of PSA to grade. Okay? You've got his base card only has 513 PSA 10s. The Disco has 37. The Hyper has 22. The Prism Laser has 89. Red, White, and Blue only 144. There's something about this print run that year in 2018, that made this card incredibly difficult to grade. And so as I look at this, my plan was, let's buy some and see what we can get. So I bought a bunch, and I basically went through and studied the market and said, all right, I'm pretty intrigued to see what can happen with Lamar. Travis, I subscribe to this tool called Market Movers. It is a little expensive, but the graphs, studying the market and understanding population control is really, really important to me as I build my collection. So I use this a lot. It's Sports Card Investor Market Movers. And I asked them if I could go live with it, and they said as long as I wasn't selling the data. And I said, we don't sell anything, so it's all good. So let me show you what we got here. I went out and bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? 7 Lamar Jackson Prisms. And when I analyzed these, they were clean. My goodness, they were clean. I thought they would at least half 10. So here's what we got, all right? It was us. I'll send you the link, Travis. I'll put it up in Restream here so that you guys can get it. But it's Sports Card Investor, and their tool is called Market Movers. So here's what we got. We got Lamar Jackson, Red, White, and Blue. It got a 9. And I'm thinking it got a 9 because there's a really small service dimple right there. But I thought it was clean. Neon Green Pulsar 10 Lamar. This has a population of only 50. There's one of 50 in the market. So I'm excited about that, and if he does, pop off, we've got a good lineup. Blue Laser, 9. Second Blue Laser, 9. Again, I was sure these were clean. I thought for sure I had some 10s. Red Wave, I'm still struggling with this one on why it's a 9. I am guessing it's a 9 for top to bottom centering, but it doesn't appear to be that off, and that's numbered to 149. Pink, 9, and Disco, 9. And so while this plan was not, I didn't get as many 10s as I thought I would get, I also didn't get any 8s. And so what does that mean? When I'm buying these cards raw, and when I go to buy any card that I'm trying to grade raw, what I'm trying to do is I'm looking for a ratio. I'm looking for any card where the raw card, the PSA graded 10 card is worth 6 times or more the raw. Why? Because when you do something like this, and you buy these cards for, I probably picked them up for 150 to 250 bucks a piece when I bought them back in July. Football wasn't happening. No one was really paying attention to it. So I picked them up probably $1,400 into these 7 cards. Now that they're PSA 9s, they're worth about 1.5 to 2x what I paid, and this 10 is probably a $2,000 card, maybe $1,000, maybe $2,000. Because if you look at it, it was certainly a couple $1,000s, again, back when I was looking at buying these, in the market. And so his prices have come down. Hopefully he can make a playoff run. And I'm going to be watching really closely to see if he can make a playoff run. And my goal will be to get out of Lamar Jackson before the end of the season. And I try to do this, just as a side note, I try to do this with players, at least one player every upcoming season. Buy in the off season when no one's paying attention, build up a nice little stack, grade them, and then sell them in the season. And it usually provides a really nice return. All right. The second thing that I will talk about with this, and this is a little bit more of a hodgepodge. One thing that I love to do is I love to buy lots of cards. And I typically look for lots where I can find 3 or 4 cards that will make up, as a PSA 10, the value of the entire lot. And so when you guys are looking at lots, for me, I purchased 2 lots, and I'll share the high level financials on this with you. I was debating whether or not I would, because I don't want you guys to think that like I'm sitting here spending a ton of money on cards, but I bought 2 lots for a total of $2,600. And I knew in those lots that there were some bangers, and there were some cards that I'm like, if these come back at 10, I'm going to do really well on them, and some of these are going to be in my PC for a really long time. So I ended up taking the lots, evaluated them for grading, sent off what to grading. Hey, Nick, thanks for joining, buddy. Appreciate you being here. We're going to start trivia here in a few minutes, so hang out for a few. We're going to give away this Burrow to anybody who wins trivia. So hang on for a few minutes. So this lot, again, when I am saying with respect to these lots, is I sold the raw cards that were not going to make up their value. When I sold the raw cards, I actually recouped almost $2,400. So I was ahead $100 on top of that lot, and then I got these, which came back graded. And let me show you what we got here, because there's some things, and I'm going to use some of these because I'm really, really proud of how some of these cards came back. So first one, Jackson Hayes, silver PSA 9. Wasn't excited about the player, but virtually any silver Prism rookie in 19 or 18 is worth grading. And at a 20-day sub, it's $15. And so, this is not a huge card. Hey, Bradley, how you doing, man? Thanks for jumping into the stream for a bit. Not a huge card, probably $50, $60 now. But again, I bought it in a lot with 70 other cards, and my cost basis on it is like $12. So not crazy, invested into it, and I'll, sell it off and see what it gets. The next one, no surprise here. Anything with this guy on it is worth grading. I scored this a 9 as well. It is a little off-center, left to right. The surface was clean, but even as a 9, the market is just so bullish on Luka Doncic that it's worth having his 9s, and if you get his 10s, even better. One thing about this lot that I thought was pretty cool is that there was quite a bit of football in it. And so before football season, again, I submitted this 20-day sub in July. Daniel Jones looked like he had a really nice season ahead of him. And so this silver, select, I thought had some potential. I scored it a 9 when I subbed it, but was really, really excited about getting a 10. Jeff, when I buy lots, I am buying them mostly on Facebook, to be honest. And what I will tell you is you're definitely taking that risk of selling the cards that people pre-screened. That being said, if you really like the lots that I'm purchasing, and I would strongly urge you to do this. If you're going to buy a lot, think about buying lots in that $500 to $2,500 range, because typically those sellers are going to be a lot more honest with you, and they're they're really not trying to scam you off a buck. And to give you a reason on that, the guy that I bought this particular lot from, again for $2,300, I've since gone back and bought other lots from him in that range to grade off. And so I think it's use your spidey sense when you're talking through whether or not you should do it. But I've really enjoyed it. Nick, yeah, I tell you, man, the this particular order is rare for 20-day. I submitted them 7/29 and I got them back on Tuesday. That does not usually happen. For whatever reason, this particular 20-day submission got caught up in grading. So, as I mentioned, I was going through and looking, for what are the bangers, like what are the cards that I'm going to be really, really happy with. And again, this presents me my first do I sell or do I hold? And, for the 30 or so people watching with us, I'd love to know, would you sell this or would you hold it? Okay? Here we go. I graded this an 8, but I still, a 9, but I still submitted it because I was really excited. Kyler Murray, rookie ticket auto teal, came back a Gem Mint 10, numbered to 149. This has a population, I believe, of 4. And so I was really, really impressed and am trying to determine, because there's a lot of people who think he's the future of the NFL. And that came in that lot, and I'm like, even if sell. I was thinking the same thing, Dave. Maybe he makes the playoffs, makes a little run, and get rid of it. Also in that lot was the rookie tickets auto teal of Daniel Jones. Thought he was going to be a little bit better this year. Obviously, he got hurt. But yeah, Jim, okay, we're selling then. I will keep you guys updated on that. This guy that I bought this lot from was pretty invested in Kyler Raw. You want that Murray. All right, Nick. That was not my intention was not to get on here and sell cards to all of you, but I will certainly PM you. He's got a pink PSA 9. Oh, and that was the last of the Murrays. And so I was pretty interested because, again, if we go back to graded card fun here, you can see the Murray cards, they're popping, up. The optic cards, at least, are popping up in value. They're pretty much maintained. And then if he makes a playoff run, he's got a legitimate shot to run after it. And so, who knows? Who knows what we'll see there. But, I got the pink prism. It came back a 9. I actually had it as a 10, and still I'm not sure why it got a 9. But, again, you're not going to get them all. You're not going to get them all 10s. So those were the big footballs. Then I got this beauty. Rui Hachimura Silver, which was a card that I've always liked this guy. And his silver prism does really, really well. Inside this lot also was several prospects. And as you guys know, big Bowman fans here. You're a hold on Murray. Yeah. I don't know, Travis. I just think, here's what I think about this, okay? I think realistically, just looking at eBay, and the only other one that sold at PWCC, I think realistically, this card probably sells for $3,000 or $4,000. And for that money, I can buy an Optic Hollow Patrick Mahomes, PSA 10. And so when I put things in those types of words, I'm like, Mahomes is probably a once-in-a-generation type player. And I don't know if we're ever going to see another Mahomes. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Oh. And where we go. Nick, they do not explain their grades, ever. And it can be really frustrating. And I'm going to walk you through that in 1 second. All right. Want to keep going? Yeah, don't PM me. Want to keep going. He had several prospects here that I was pretty intrigued by. Big fan of Bobby Witt, grading most of his stuff. Was bummed this got a 9. But to be honest with you, the Dominguez also got a 9. And so they both got 9s. And what I will tell you across the board, I've submitted several Bowmans, and a lot of them come back 9s and 8s, and I'm not exactly sure why. But, you know, it is what it is. 9s are still really good. I'm just a 10 guy. So, as I was so excited about the Kyler Murray, this is actually the card. Resubmit. I agree. Well, I'm gonna talk to you about that in a second, Nick. Here is, the off-centering is really bad, Dave. I bought the entire lot for this next card because I was really high on this guy, and I still am, and was really bummed they got a 9, but it is what it is. Powson Gold Auto, numbered to 50, Bowman Chrome. This is why I purchased the lot, and you know, the only thing I can see on the card that would give it a 9 is the centering being top to bottom centering. But typically with PSA, they're not crazy about centering. They allow 60-40 centering, and this looks pretty close to 60-40. But I was still pretty impressed with that card, and still love it. To round out the lot, and I don't want to spend too much more time on this, huge fan of Dominguez, and I've been buying up his first editions. I think I've got 5 of these PSA 10 now that I'm just sitting on. Again, just a really nice first edition Bowman PSA 10. And as we talk about centering, you know, this card is off center left to right, but it got a 10. And so it's not exactly consistent, but it is what it is. To round out the lot, you got a John Morant NBA debut pink. Really like this guy. Obviously, you know, rookie of the year. There's nothing not to like. Luis Robert, PSA 10, Topps Chrome Silver pack. I really loved the way these looked, and they were included in that lot, so I wanted to grade that one off. Dave, I believe you were the one talking about RJ Barrett. This came in the lot as well, and it got a 9, which I was pretty impressed by. I actually scored it an 8 because this, you can see the rookie card logo is actually off by a fraction of an inch. So, again, this entire lot came back in the last 3 prospects. Xavier Edwards auto at a $4.99 is a 9. Patino auto as a 9. And then a Bobby Witt paper first prospects came back a 9. But again, in my opinion, and you know, I'm not a PSA grader, but I do this a lot. To me, those 2 cards have the same centering. Like, they're slightly off center left to right. This got a 10, this got a 9. So I'm not 100% sure. Travis, to answer your question, PSA is the best when it comes to grading across the board. And yeah, they are inconsistent. So is BSG. They're all inconsistent. And I'll show you a little bit about that. So I'm going to wrap this up here with the last set of cards that I want to walk you through. Then we'll play some trivia, and any questions you guys have, I'm more than happy to answer them. I'm going to set this up here a little bit and set this up in a way that looks really nice. So as I mentioned, lot buying really important. The reason I like to buy lots is I am looking for lots that have the ability to 3x their value. And so when I purchase a lot, I'm literally going on eBay, I'm taking the average of the last sell of PSA 10, I'm factoring in that I'm only going to get 60% PSA 10s, and I'm understanding, okay, you know, where am I going to land? With that particular lot, I'm going to do really well on it if I sell everything. I mean, that one rookie ticket by Murray is going to cover the entire cost of the lot, and I've already made the majority of it back by selling the raw cards that I didn't grade across the board. The last thing that I want to talk about, and I'll not spend a ton of time on it, but the last thing I look at is singles. And so lots are fun because it's kind of like treasure hunting. But when it comes to singles, what I'm looking for are cards that I want to add to my PC which, as I've told you, my PC is PSA 10 graded rookies of players that I admire. And any card that I think, I make a bet on, is that value going to go up? Is it going to go up, or is it not going to go up? What I ended up doing with respect to some of these cards, it's pretty interesting. So let me answer this question real quick. Nick, I'm going to walk through resubmission here in a second, but to answer your question, Jim Mint, who we sub through here in the group, actually has a Dremel tool that takes cards out of these cases without damaging them. And I'll walk you through that in a second. Bradley, the base cards are worth more graded, for sure. Everything is generally worth more graded as long as it's graded PSA 9 or above. No problem, Nick, no problem. Okay, so with singles, real quick rule of thumb for me, and I'm just checking it on eBay, I'm not doing anything crazy. Either I want to add it to my PC, or the value of the PSA 10 is worth 6x the value of the raw card. Why does that matter? Because at a 60% 10 ratio, my guess is that when I get them back, if I get them worth 10, they're worth 6x more or more. If I get them back 9s, they're worth about 1 to 1.5, maybe 2 times raw, depending upon the player. And if I get them back as 8s, I can crack them out of the case, resubmit them, or sell them raw, and tell them, this was submitted. This is, not going to grade a 10, or it might grade a 10. You just need to resubmit it. So let's start with some of the singles that I submitted on this order. There aren't many, but I'm excited about the first two. Talk about PC. You know how much I love Allen and Ginter. I went out and grabbed the Joe Burrow Allen and Ginter mini auto, and I actually have the entire population of PSA 10 graded Joe Burrows. And so, again, may not be the most valuable card in the world, but I think they're gorgeous. And, I knew not a lot of people were going to grade them. And so, really excited about these two. These are probably going to sit in the PC for quite some time and work through that. So I'm pretty excited about those. Jeff, the ratio for PSA 9 to raw is roughly 1.5 to 2, depending upon the player. And I'll walk through that in a second. I've got an example. Like you guys, I love to break cards. I break cards at various breakers across the internet. One of those breakers, I bought the Bengals in an Origins break and was fortunate enough to pull the Burrow rookie auto turquoise out of 25 and shipped it right off the PSA, and it got a 10. So really excited about, you're right, Nick, everybody does have a price. Really excited to have this in my collection. I think there's only 3 of these. So pretty excited about that. The next one that I'm pretty intrigued by is a strategy that I took over the winter months when no one was paying attention to football. And what I did is I bought up a lot of, there's a product called Select XRC. I don't know if you've seen it. They put in redemption cards for draft picks for the next year's draft. And it confuses a lot of buyers because they don't really know what they're buying until the draft happens. So I obviously took a hunch on the Bengals were going to be taking Joe Burrow at number 1 and bought up a bunch of the XRC Select Prisms for draft pick number 1 and was thrilled. So the first one I got here is the Select XRC Joe Burrow Auto, and that is numbered to 49. Again, really was hoping this guy didn't get hurt. That was kind of my goal here. But his cards are still, the prices have still looked pretty good. So I got his auto, which is a good strategy for you guys to look at, at the end of next year, buying these up if you know Trevor Lawrence is probably going to go number 1. And then I ended up with 3 of the silver selects. Ironically, only one of them got a 10, though they look virtually identical. And so I am probably going to take these 2 9s and resub them because I just don't see any reason why they weren't 10s. So again, pretty excited about those. Burrow was my guy, and that's who I was really going after, and so was excited for these to come back, and especially excited for them to come back 10 and sit in the vault for a little bit. All right, on to Nick's question. Let's talk about resubs because this card I'm having a personal vendetta with this card. Okay? Joe Burrow, Bowman Chrome, the GOAT, the rookie card. It is gorgeous. I bought this card raw in an auction in the off season. I think I got it. I want to say I got it for maybe $500 or $600. Guys, this card is flawless. Like, the surface is perfectly clean. The corners are perfectly clean. If anybody's going to take anything off of it, it's top to bottom centering. And again, PSA doesn't care about top to bottom centering. I have a dozen PSA 10s that show me that they don't care about top to bottom centering. So I'm pumped about this card when I get it in because sometimes when I buy raw, like Jeff mentioned, I'm pretty nervous about, is it going to be what they're describing it to be or am I taking a big risk? So I got this card and I shipped it off the PSA. And it came back an 8. And I'm like, no. Cracked it. Had Jared crack it. Shipped it off again. And each time I'm doing this, I'm subbing it 10-day. Came back a 9. And I'm like, okay, 9's good. I'm happy with a 9. But to me, it's a 10. And this card in a 10 is worth significantly more than this card in a 9. So I had him crack it again. And look what it came back. 6. I was pissed, to say the least. So sure enough, this is going in the next 10-day sub. It's getting cracked again. I'll keep you guys in the loop on how this is going. If it comes back a 9 again, I'll leave it a 9 and just accept it. But to me, this is a 10. And it should be a 10. There is no way it's a 6. Like, it is, you guys can't really see it on camera, but it is flawless. The surface is flawless. The corners are flawless. Like, this card should be a 10. So, I'm going to keep subbing it, and I'll keep you guys in the loop. Jeff, for serial number cards, I only think PSA 10 reduces the value, anything other than 1-to-1, like a 1-to-1, or a superfractor. If it gets a 10, it adds a ton of value. What I recommend on anything 1-of-1, and I've actually discussed this with a member in the group who did a bulk sub with us. I discussed this with them, and what I told them was, let's get it graded, but send it in as a minimum grade of 10. Meaning, if they don't think it grades a 10, they're not going to put it in a slab. And so if that happens, then you get it back, it isn't a 10. But if it is a 10, it's going to add value. You're right, Nick. If it stays a 9, I will. I'll call you, buddy. All right, last 2 singles. I love basketball. Zion Williamson, I've got a bunch of his stuff in the collection. I didn't think this was going to 10. I thought it was a little too off-center, left to right. It did get a 9, but still, 9's pretty good. And then the last one, I'll tell you the last card, and then we'll move on to trivia and answer any questions you guys have. I was super excited about this card because I got a upcharge notification. And so when you get those, you're pretty disappointed because you're like, I just waited literally 5 months for a card that should have been here in 20 days, and you're going to upcharge me. But it was for my Patrick Mahomes Silver Prism, which is a card that I don't have in my PC as a 10. I want it in my PC as a 10. but I think it's trending at like $9,000 or $10,000, and that's unattainable. And so I bought this card raw. I thought it was really clean. I subbed it, and then I got the upcharge notification, and sure enough, got a 9, which is still worth quite a bit. But I think what I'm going to be doing with this 9 is I'm going to be taking it with some of these other cards and selling them up to try to get it in a 10. And that'll be my play with this, is try to get the Mahomes in a 10. Because I think he's got 5 to 6 Super Bowls in him. And I'm pretty excited about where those could potentially go. So, in short, a couple things that I learned. Sub times are unreliable. Be patient. Don't try to time the market. Be excited with when they come back. There's nothing more fun than looking at these cards and opening them. We're going to do some trivia, and then I want to talk some things that I know are happening in PSA. And the trivia is pretty fun. So, you guys that are all with us here, let me grab this trivia link. We're gonna try something a little different, and I'll wait for everybody to jump on. You can do it on your phone or on your computer, and so jump into. I'm gonna put this in the chat. Give you guys a second here. Oops, what happened? There it is. Okay. Sorry guys, one sec. It's taking me just a second. There it is. Alright, so if you guys watching with us, jump into to that, and I am going to, as I watch you guys get jumped in, it looks like there's about 25 of us watching right now. I am going to pull up my phone to make sure this looks the right way. Give me one second. Groups. And let me make sure. So, give me one second. All right. 6 of you guys are on. 7. Eight of you guys are on. Oh, Nick, no worries, man. I'll tell you, trivia is only going to take about a minute and a half. So, up to you. But, there's 10 of you guys on. And we're going to give away this NFL debut Burrow 10 to whoever wins the trivia. So, that'll be a nice little giveaway here for the lucky one of you that answers these 7 questions correctly and fast. So 12 of you guys are on. I'll give it about 5 more seconds. All right. We're going to go ahead and get started. 14. Okay, here we go. We're going to get started on the trivia. This is sports card trivia. So it'll be fun. Again, don't get too frustrated, but you're trying to answer the questions quickly and accurately. So quickly and accurately. All right, guys, here we go. Ready? You get 10 seconds to answer each question. We're going to start the question countdown to number 1. All right. Countdown is beginning. Question 1 is live. All right. Here is the correct answer for question 1. Tom Brady's rookie card. We just talked about that for a second. All right, moving on to question number 2. All right, correct answer for question number 2, HMS is not a grading service. Question number 3. If you scroll up, Bradley, you can find the trivia link right above you. It's up there. The app was called Crowd All right, question number 3. The correct answer, Gold Mojo. All right, let's take a look at question number 4. There are only 7 questions, so don't worry. Bear with us. This one's a tough one. All right, question number 4. The correct answer is 50. 50 for the red refractor in Prism football. Question number 5. Nick, the question is, will he be answering better or worse than what you were answering? That's the question. All right, question 5. The correct answer was B, super short print. Question number 6. Again, just 2 more left. Question number 6. The iconic rookie card of none other than 1986 Michael Jordan Fleer. That is a card that I would love to have in my PC, but that's like mortgaging a house type of card. And so that's one that I'm really excited about. All right, the last question of our trivia, and then we'll see the results. Here we go. All right. Question number 7. The answer is Super Fractor. All right. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Let's see who the winner is of the Joe Burrow NFL debut. ELM. ELM is our winner just by a hair to Michael A, just by a few points. Anthony came in third pretty closely. So here's what we're doing with the submission here. We're going to give away the Joe Burrow 10 to the winner. I'm going to give a $50 grading submission credit to Michael A. And Michael for coming in second, just for being a good sport and playing some card trivia with us. Eric, congrats, buddy. I appreciate it. Send us a PM, Eric, so that we can make sure we have all of your details. But that was really fun. And guys, again, from all of us here at Hit Seekers, really, really appreciate you enjoying the hobby with us. It was fantastic to just unbox these with everybody. What I will tell you, just one quick thing, as we continue to grow and the PSA submission continues to grow, we do expect a price hike in PSA in January. I am going to be submitting to PSA at least once, maybe twice, before the holiday to beat the price hike. So if any of you guys are working on cards that you want to get in, my suggestion to you is, yes, Dave, you can 100% submit 10-day and 20-day in the same order. Because what I do is as long as there aren't the same cards in the same order. I know PSA keeps them all the same, but just for the sake of ease, I don't ever do that. I'll actually combine orders with everybody that sends them to me so that we don't have smaller than 6 cards, which gets upcharged. So my suggestion to all of you, if you're gonna grade, submit some grading. Stop what you're doing and get it to us in the next week or so that we can get it into PSA before the price hike goes up. I don't know what the price hike's going to be. Jared from Gem Mint's actually going live tonight at 9:30, and I'm gonna tune in with him and just see what it is. Now I will obviously keep everybody in the loop, but I will say the first 10-day submission we had is moving right along. It's in the grading process. I'd expect those back in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, which should be pretty great. And I know those are some anxious members waiting for their cards, so excited to have those. Any other questions about grading from any of you guys? Was this helpful or enjoyable? Super enjoyable for me because I haven't seen these cards yet. But did you guys get anything out of it? Like as we look to do more content, we love to break, but we also love just sharing insights about the hobby as well. So if you guys like to see stuff like this from us, please let us know because it is pretty enjoyable to build stuff out. Take care, Travis. Thanks for joining. Michael, the HitSeeker submission sheet is on our website at hitseekerscardbreaks.com. Click the PSA grading tab, and you'll see a big blue button that says download the form. And really appreciate it, everybody. Well, again, I appreciate it, guys, and really enjoy you guys being a part of the group. And if you need anything from us, let us know. We will not list a break. I don't think we're going to list a break until Saturday. We're going to take a couple days off, regroup. But we do have some new stuff coming in. I know we got a full case of Obsidian football coming in. We're thinking about maybe listing that differently. We might try to list that one on eBay and just see what the teams sell for, just to see what happens. So fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. But guys, I really appreciate you. Have a fantastic evening, and we'll talk soon. Thanks so much. Bowman Mixer. Yeah, Michael. That Bowman Mixer last night was insane. We're definitely going to do that one again. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great evening.